We've got ones that can see, and that would be everybody listening to this channel. I need to talk about the Stargate project because they're starting to let more and more information out about what they're doing, but they also want to dupe the public into thinking it's one thing versus what it really is. And of course, this is a tactic that they always have to use. People are afraid, people don't understand. So they give you a little bit of an understanding without specifically telling you what they're doing. But I will show you specifically what they are doing. And before I get into that, everybody out there, please make sure, if you haven't yet, subscribe to my other channel, Sheeple Syndrome. I just created this channel, as most of you know. I have lost quite a few in the last 30 days, so I have to build out Sheeple Syndrome. And everybody who's come over to this channel, you're the type of subscribers who have listened to my warnings about channels being deleted, who want my content. So definitely make sure you subscribe now. It's linked below. Don't miss this chance. We have to build that channel out and continue to make channels in order to avoid being completely wiped off this platform. Because if I don't have channels built out ahead of time, then nobody's going to be able to find me. So there's many people out there who are looking for my channel, many people who are sub to some other ones, which I won't say the names for the algorithm's sake, who no longer can find my content because they didn't heed my warnings. This channel should be safe for a month or two, but in the meantime, let's build out the other channels and have them ready to go. So it is Sheeple Syndrome. It's linked below. You guys know the routine, so please head on over there. I'll put up some, whatever you want to call it, type of content, entertaining content. It's not really, but I'll put up some content over there, build it out, and I need everybody's help. So please do me that favor now if you haven't yet. I'd really, really appreciate it. So the Stargate project is getting more and more traction. People are trying to figure out what exactly it is. So you could, of course, rely on conservative-controlled news like Fox News to bring the goons out like Larry Ellison and Sam Altman to talk about what the Stargate project is, knowing that the majority of people out there don't understand AI, but are being told that AI is already a big part of their lives because now they're linking in Google searches and other things that people rely on the internet and saying, well, AI is really doing that. As most of you have noticed, Google searches now give you AI as the top answer, right? You get an AI overview instead of the top page that usually comes up when you do a Google search. So now people are being conditioned into, oh, well, it's like the Google search. It's not really that big of a deal, but it is a big deal. And Larry Ellison here is talking about how the healthcare system is going to be affected. You might remember Larry Ellison on day one of Donald Trump taking over, talking about those personalized custom mRNA vaccines to cure cancer. And the majority of people went, whoa, they're talking about vaccine. Oh boy. But of course, all it takes right after that is Donald Trump to come out and say men will play men's sport, women will play women's sports, for those people to forget about it. For those people to say, he's pushing that again. I thought he was over all that stuff with Operation Warp Speed. And they continue to put these little traps in place to get people's attention away from what they're actually doing, which is building out AI governance, which is the structure of the New World Order, which is everything, again, that they discuss at the World Economic Forum, the United Nations. This is the Tower of Babel rebuilt through artificial intelligence. So they want to explain what this means for healthcare, right? Because one of the transitions will be to healthcare. And what he says is that, well, what's going to happen is, you go in the doctor's office, everyone's like, yeah. And, they go through their folders and they see the stuff that you were in there for last time and your health history and, they check your blood pressure. All AI is doing is just giving another eye on it, right? And so people go, oh, okay, that's interesting. So what does it mean? Well, he'll tell you that artificial intelligence is just listening in, right? Which should be, something that should ring bells in people's minds immediately to say, wait, AI is listening to a conversation I'm having with a doctor, right? But they're so used to this now with all the devices that they've allowed into their home that they don't really care if AI is listening or not. These narcissists just say things like, I'm not hiding anything anyway, so go ahead, spy on me, right? So they're going to ease people in to AI healthcare with stuff like this by saying what you're about to hear, where AI is listening, and all it's going to do is give the doctor recommendations so that you can get the best care. And these people will eat it up hook, line, and sinker. But what he's really talking about is getting under the skin, which I'll get into after I show you these clips. So here he is trying to convince people it's not a bad thing. It's just an extra set of ears on the conversation. And then again, the doctor can go to AI and get a recap of everything that was discussed and maybe get good recommendations from AI. That's all it is, right? So the sheep will hear that, and what do they say? They go, oh, okay. Well, it doesn't hurt to have a second opinion, right? It doesn't hurt to have an extra set of ears on it. I mean, maybe they'll work together and they'll figure out what's wrong with me, right? And then he goes on to talk again about curing cancer and how these customized gene editing vaccines can cure cancer. Nobody out there seems to understand. When they're talking about gene editing, they're editing your DNA, which is unique to you, right? Again, true crimes are the best way for me to explain it. These crimes that you constantly see solved by what? DNA. They can find the person. They can pinpoint the one individual, even if they weren't a suspect, based on his blood being at the crime scene, based on his DNA being there, because he has his own specific DNA. They want to alter that specific DNA. And this has everything to do with man and machine becoming one. Here's Fox News trying to comfort and get conservatives to accept what they're doing with Project Stargate and the AI healthcare system.
Larry, you talked about what can come out of this as far as healthcare and other things. People are starting to get their head around AI, but not fully.
Well, when you go to the hospital these days, if you're using a modern system, using a modern system, the doctor will get a little note written by AI describing what the purpose of the appointment, and then that note will have your latest lab tests and your so the doctor's prepared when they meet with the patient. The AI will actually listen to the conversation between the doctor and the patient and make recommendations and improve the likelihood that the patient's going to get a high quality of care. It's easier for the doctor. It's better outcomes for the patient. It's really a revolution in medicine, but it's a revolution in many other industries as well. Medicine just touches us all.
Larry, why on this day one do you think you decided to do this? I assume you've been working on it for a long time.
We have been working on it for a long time. The first data centers are actually under construction in Texas already, and we'll be turning them over to Sam to start training their next model. The data center we already built, it was the largest computer ever built. The data center we're building will surpass it and be the largest computer ever built, which enables this AI, which will allow personalized medicine. This is going to touch all of us. Yes, it takes a huge investment, but the result of the investment will be vaccines that prevent cancers, personalized medicine, where we never again run into a problem like COVID-19 before, because we get an early warning. We know when COVID starts, when there are a handful of patients, rather than having to wait until it's become an epidemic and very difficult to control. This is a very large investment that affects all of humanity.
Can I ask the three of you just really quickly to get a sense of where you see the economy? There seems to be this optimism, or like the yoke is being released as far as regulation and business to flourish. Is that fair? Is that a fair assessment? How do you see it?
I think so.
This is the beginning of golden age.
So again, the majority of people only heard what you heard in the first clip and aren't able to grasp anything that he's actually saying. When he's talking about AI listening to you, that this is going to change healthcare, that's just to ease you into accept it. But eventually what you'll find out is that in addition to these personalized vaccines, which will edit your DNA and change what you are and change who you are, as they've told us over and over again, he mentioned early warning signs, right? He said things like, well, because of what happened with COVID, early warning signs this time around with AI will be able to detect this and we'll be able to stop the spread. So you sit there and you think to yourself, well, how would it be able to detect it? Well, they're talking about detecting it because they will be under your skin. If you didn't notice when they were pushing COVID, they were pushing under the skin surveillance, taking your temperature everywhere you went, making you contact trace. Remember that with your phones, who you're near, telling you who's by you, who might have been in contact with somebody who had it before. And then you might have to quarantine because you went to Chuck E. Cheese and somebody at Chuck E. Cheese brushed a shoulder with somebody who might have been affected, and so on and so forth. This under the skin surveillance spread and became normal, and standing 6 feet apart, etc. I'm going to play for you these clips that explain exactly what they're doing with AI healthcare. This goes back to Yuval Harari. It goes back to the World Economic Forum. Them telling you openly, imagine if these people were able to be under your skin. They can detect diseases, sure. But how about being able to detect emotions? How about being able to detect through the television how you're feeling when you're hearing certain news reported? It's about monitoring and full-on surveillance of every single thing that's going on under your skin. How do you think that this stuff is going to happen without artificial intelligence? They'll ease you in by saying that AI could save lives. A doctor misdiagnosed someone, but thankfully AI was in the room, and the AI recorded the whole conversation and gave its own analysis, which was different than the human doctor. And guess what? The AI detected something that the human doctor didn't. And because of the AI, this person had their life saved. They would have died in a few weeks because they were misdiagnosed. But AI doesn't miss diagnoses, right? And people say, that's great, that's wonderful. They'll keep hearing propaganda like that, and eventually they'll start bringing up what Larry just brought up and talking about, hey, we could prevent having lockdowns and quarantines and all this other stuff if AI has access underneath your skin, because you'll be able to do all these things that you could do with the Fitbit, just more. You'll be able to track not just your heart rate and your steps. We'll be able to track your white blood cell count, your red blood cell count, any pathogens that might be in your body, any cancer that could be in there. This will be able to detect it for you. You'll be having your own personal doctor inside of your body. And that's ultimately what they're getting at when they talk about AI healthcare, is that AI is inside of you, changing your genetic code and what it means to be a human. This is called under the skin surveillance, and they're not hiding it.
COVID is critical because this is what convinces people to accept, to legitimize total biometric surveillance. If we want to stop this epidemic, we need not just to monitor people, we need to monitor what's happening under their skin, their body temperature. Like we walked in here, we had to go through a body temperature test. No, I think maybe in a couple of decades when people look back, the thing they will remember from the COVID crisis is this is the moment when everything went digital. And if this was the moment when everything became monitored, that we agreed to be surveyed all the time, not just in authoritarian machines, but even in democracies. And maybe most importantly at all, this was the moment when surveillance started going under the skin. The biometric sensor. It's the thing, it's the gadget, it's the technology that converts biological data into digital data that can be analyzed by computers. And having the ability to really monitor people under the skin, this is the biggest game changer of all. With this kind of surveillance, I mean, you watch the big president, the big leader, gives a speech on television. The television could be monitoring you and knowing whether you're angry or not, just by analyzing the cues, the biological cues coming from your body. So people are now watching us online, all over the world, this conversation. Now, maybe even right now, the people who are watching us are being watched and analyzed. And the thing is, it's not just you're now watching this. The thing is, we know that you're watching this, and we also know how you feel. Are you angry about what you hear? Are you frightened? Are you bored? This is the kind of power that Stalin didn't have. When Stalin gave a speech, everybody, of course, clapped their hand and smiled. Now, how do you know what they really think about Stalin? It's very difficult. You can't have a KGB agent following everybody all the time. Even if you do it, he's just watching your outside behavior. He doesn't really know what's happening in your mind. But in 10 years, the future Stalins of the 21st century, they could be watching the minds, the brains of all the population all the time, and also they will have the computing power to analyze all that. You know, it's not just having an agent following everybody all the time. The agent in Stalin's days writes a paper report, and you have these millions of paper reports piling up in Moscow. Somebody needs to read them, to analyze them. That's impossible. Now you don't need human agents. You don't need human analyzers. You just have a lot of sensors and an AI which analyzes it, and that's it. You have the worst totalitarian regime in history. And COVID is important because COVID legitimizes some of the crucial steps even in democratic countries.
The really big thing is hacking human beings. To hack human beings, you need a lot of biological knowledge, a lot of computing power, and especially a lot of data. If you have enough data about me and enough computing power and biological knowledge, you can hack my body, my brain, my life. You can reach a point when you know me better than I know myself. And once you reach that point, and we are very close to that point, then democracy, the free market, as we have, and actually all political systems, also authoritarian regimes, we have no idea what happens once you pass that point. Now, in the past, many tyrants and governments wanted to do it, but nobody understood biology well enough. And nobody had enough computing power and data to hack millions of people. Neither the Gestapo nor the KGB could do it. But soon, at least some corporations and governments will be able to systematically hack all the people. We humans should get used to the idea that we are no longer mysterious souls. We are now hackable animals. Data might enable human elites to do something even more radical than just build digital dictatorships. By hacking organisms, elites may gain the power to re-engineer the future of life itself. Because once you can hack something, you can usually also engineer it. And if indeed we succeed in hacking and engineering life, this will be not just the greatest revolution in the history of humanity. This will be the greatest revolution in biology since the very beginning of life 4 billion years ago. For 4 billion years, nothing fundamental changed in the basic rules of the game of life. All of life, for 4 billion years, dinosaurs, amoebas, tomatoes, humans, all of life was subject to the laws of natural selection and to the laws of organic biochemistry. But this is now about to change. Science is replacing evolution by natural selection with evolution by intelligent design. Not the intelligent design of some god above the clouds, but our intelligent design and the intelligent design of our clouds, the IBM cloud, the Microsoft cloud. These are the new driving forces of evolution. And at the same time, science may enable life, after being confined for 4 billion years to the limited realm of organic compounds, science may enable life to break out into the inorganic realm. So after 4 billion years of organic life shaped by natural selection, we are entering the era of inorganic life shaped by intelligent design. So does the data about my DNA, my brain, my body, my life, does it belong to me or to some corporation or to the government or perhaps to the human collective? Humans are now hackable animals. You know, the whole idea that humans have, you know, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will and nobody knows what's happening inside me. So whatever I choose, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will, that's over. Free will, that's over.
That's over.
Over. Today, We have the technology to hack human beings on a massive scale. Yeah, I mean, everything is being digitalized. Everything is being monitored. In this time of crisis, you have to follow science. It's often said that you should never allow a good crisis to go to waste, because a crisis is an opportunity to also do good reforms that in normal times people will never agree to. But in a crisis, you see, we have no chance. So let's do it.
Vaccine won't help us go
The
to the
vaccine
test, of course.
will help us, of course. It will make things, more manageable. Surveillance. People could look back in 100 years and identify the coronavirus epidemic as the moment when a new regime of surveillance took over, especially surveillance under the skin, which I think is maybe the most important development of the 21st century, is this ability to hack human beings, to go under the skin, collect biometric data, analyze it, and understand people better than they understand themselves. This, I believe, is maybe the most important event of the 21st century.
One of the features of this fourth industrial revolution is that it doesn't change what we are doing, but it changes us.
The difference of this fourth industrial revolution is it doesn't change what you are doing, it changes you. If you take genetic editing, just as an example, it's you who are changed. And of course, this has a big impact on your identity.
And offers certain kinds of possibilities that have to be careful about. When you began to do that kind of gene editing, some people worry that you are changing what it means to be human.
That's the problem. Of course, the new industrial revolution offers us many opportunities, but it raises manifold questions on the ethical, but even legal implications. And we have to be prepared for it, and that's what we want to do in Davos next year. So this fourth industrial revolution is, it doesn't change what you are doing, it changes you. If you take genetic editing, just as an example, it's you who are changed.
Everything went digital, right? Right out of his own mouth, Yuval Harari. I discussed how that was part of the transition of everything that happened. People don't even realize that people gave up going and seeing their family members for holidays. Not that those are do-all, end-all events, but that's how much control the government had over people's minds, telling them they couldn't leave their home. Grandma's dying, can't go see her at the hospital. You're too much of a risk. You're not allowed in there. They won't let you in. But you could FaceTime with grandma, and people were angry for 5 minutes. Then they FaceTime. Then they did it again and again and again for months and months on end. And they got so conditioned into doing it that now, years later, the majority of people are doing FaceTime calls instead of actually going and seeing people, imprisoning themselves in their home, right? No different than a prisoner who gets a visitor that comes to see them in jail. And what do they get to do? Well, they can't hug them. They can't touch them. They could see them through a wall, right? No different than with your phone. Again, turning your home into a prison, turning your life into this digital prison hell that they have planned. And they ultimately want to get under your skin. This is about under the skin surveillance. And people will be more likely, once they hear stories about cancer being detected, early stages, being cured, personalized vaccines, they will give in. Because cancer, the purpose that it served as far as psychologically over the last 20 years is that the difference between it and COVID, let's just say, is that a lot of people didn't believe COVID existed, right? A lot of people didn't take what the government was feeding them. So some people were skeptical, saying, I'm not going to get it just based on that. Not because they were just anti-getting a vax. Well, with cancer, everybody knows somebody who's had cancer. Everybody knows somebody who's been affected by cancer, right? This is something that we can look at and say, well, it's a real thing. Now, of course, nobody asks why cancer exists, even though it should be easy to figure out when you look at the soft metals that they dump on us and dump in our food, right? But people will be more likely and fearful of actually getting cancer. And of course, we could all look at the misdiagnoses that humans give to these patients when they actually have tumors, etc., so that they end up on chemo and so on and so forth, when many of these people don't even have it in the first place. But this is about getting under the skin. It's under the skin surveillance. And that's what people need to understand is coming, okay? This Stargate project they're easing you into, they know that 0% of the population understand what it is. They have a vague understanding, which is why they want you to think it is something like a Google search where, hey, I'm looking up the best, ingredients for a recipe, and AI overview is giving me the answer, right? So now they're getting AI in your head where you're saying, well, yeah, the AI overview is better than even looking at the articles out there, right? And then they say, well, AI is just analyzing all the stuff that's showing up in the search and giving you the best possible answer. And that's how they condition you, right? So then they say you're going to the doctor. AI is just listening. And these people go, well, what's the big deal? I mean, they're filming me at Walmart when I'm checking out. So let AI listen. I'm not hiding anything. And they say, hey, you know what? I'm sure you'll hear this over and over again, right? Second opinion, right? We've got that fed to us a long time, right? That saying of, oh, you went to the doctor said this, get a second opinion if you don't like what the doctor said, right? Okay, well, guess what? You won't have to leave and go to another doctor for a second opinion. Most people can't get a second opinion, right? Because their health insurance only allows them to go see one doctor. So then they'll say, wow, I can have a second opinion for free at the same time? Yeah, it'll be AI. And then from there, as they get comfortable and AI starts to become their friend and they tell you how AI detected something that the human couldn't, people go, wow, that's really great. And they go, yeah, it's really great. And they go, we could do even better. You know how the Fitbit does this and it tracks this and does that? Yeah. Well, if we actually have the ability to get under your skin, and it's not some neurological procedure, we could just, get under your skin by just giving you a shot, and then inside your body, we'll be able to detect everything beforehand. You won't have to worry about even going to the hospital anymore. And they put the propaganda out about lives being saved and how the early detection and, this stopped an outbreak from occurring, and everybody will eat it up because all it takes is conditioning through time, right? Good enough propaganda where they use enough words that make people scared and then they feel comfortable with AI and all the stuff I said that'll happen beforehand. How AI will save lives through giving doctors information that they couldn't find on their own. And then they'll say, it's like my own personalized doctor. That's under my skin. Right. And it'll be editing what's under your skin and monitoring what's under your skin. And as Yuval and all these psychopaths openly said, under the skin surveillance. That's what they're attempting with biometrics. And they have the technology in place. It's in place. It's ready to go. In fact, some people already have this under their skin without realizing. Of course, we all know that. A lot of people already have the surveillance, but a lot of people also don't have it. We saw the trial run where people were allowing this inside their body and are being tracked and monitored under their skin. But there's a large portion of the population that also does not have this monitoring and surveilling under their skin, even though I know a lot of you believe that via the nanotech and the smart dust that they have the ability to do this already, but they don't have a direct pathway into your bloodstream without you allowing them to shoot it into your bloodstream. And eventually they're going to do everything they can to force you to give into this under the skin surveillance. So the technology is here. It's just a matter of conditioning. That's what this is all about. That's what all the things that they do is about. It's about conditioning you into accepting. The longer you hear it, the more you're just eventually going to go, whatever. Desensitize, condition over and over. Then start removing other options. Oh, well, now there's a shortage of doctors. But thankfully, that AI healthcare that was listening in the last time you went to the doctor, they know all your info, and you could just press a button on your phone and contact your AI doctor. And little by little, that's how it'll go, right? There'll be a shortage of doctors. There'll be, just like, the air traffic control, a perfect example to compare it to, right? Well, there's a shortage of air traffic controllers all of a sudden all over America. Who knew? Who knew, right? All of a sudden there's none anywhere. You could just look it up. Ohio, Chicago, after all the crashes that just occurred. Well, we need a solution to that. Well, we have it. It's AI air control, air traffic control. Oh, great, right? Same thing. You'll hear whatever excuse they make up. Oh, doctors don't want to do it anymore. Doctors are stressed. Doctors are seeing that AI knows more than they know. And little by little, it's so hard to get an appointment with your doctor. You're sick right now and you can't get an appointment for 3 weeks. Well, open the app and get your AI doctor immediately. And the more comfortable you get with that, then they'll start hitting you with, hey, you don't even need to press the button on the phone anymore, because guess what? The phone's obsolete. The phone's in your body anyway. It's all in your body. It's all under the skin, right? Because at the same time they're telling you that you'll be able to open an app and interact with an AI doctor, they're also telling you that smartphones are going to be obsolete. This is the same thing that Elon Musk is saying at the same time, right? Oh, we're going to have Starlink, so your phone can always be connected. But at the same time, what's he saying? He's saying phones are going to be obsolete by 2030, that you're going to have a brain-computer interface, which is like a Neuralink under your skin, right? So people should be going, well, if you're going to track us and make these Starlinks, but you're saying phones are going to be gone, what's it going to? Oh, it'll be tracking and monitoring you and your movements without your phone. And they'll say, well, what's the difference? The phone's in your pocket, you know? And these suckers will just go and go and go and allow the government to continue and continue and continue. And they'll do the same thing with the healthcare. Oh, well, guess what? The phone's obsolete. So what am I supposed to do? Where's my AI doctor? Well, your AI doctor can now be in you and your phone. All of it could be in you. It's more convenient for you. It's more convenient? Yeah, and it's safe, right? Okay, I'll do it. And we'll edit what it means to be human, by the way, right? So it's all about under the skin surveillance, conditioning people into it. And now they're working the conservatives into accepting this Stargate project. And they know that they got pushback from that first initial day of Donald Trump bringing Larry Ellison out, talking about mRNA. But they're going to continue to do it little by little. Now they're going to kind of separate from Trump, have Trump in the background, not in the room when they talk about what they're trying to do with AI, so that Trump doesn't take any of the fall for it. Say, well, he hired these people, he doesn't really know what they're doing, because MAGA will refuse to believe it, right? Like they always do. They'll convince themselves, oh, Trump doesn't know what they're doing or talking about. He's just trying to go after China. He's trying to be number one, right? Right. These psychopaths are trying to get inside your body for under the skin surveillance. If you're not aware, be aware. Hopefully this video made you aware. Share it with others. I want to thank everybody who is here. I appreciate all of you greatly. God bless you and your families, as always.